Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm going to be reacting to the Florida Gators loss to the Kentucky Wildcats. Obviously, terrible news for Gators fans. You can see the score there on the screen, 20-13. The Gators did not look good today, didn't deserve to win this game, and evidently did not win. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Before we get into the video, question of the day, drop down below. The last really big regular season game that the Gators have is against Georgia. Comment down below whether or not you think we can beat Georgia. Georgia looks like the #1 team in the country right now. So drop your predictions down below for that game. You'll hear my prediction at the end of the video. But let's get right into what I'm going to be talking about is how did the Florida Gators how did they fail to win this game, and what does this mean moving forwards? Well, unfortunately, this really sucks, and this effectively puts an end to our playoff hopes. Realistically, yes, it does. Is it possible that we make the playoffs? Yes, there was a lot of upsets this week. The biggest one, in my opinion, being Oregon. Oregon lost, so that throws a little wrench in the plans. Of course, Ohio State's already lost, but Georgia hasn't, Alabama hasn't, and now Kentucky at 5-0 has no losses. Probably going to end up a ranked team at the end of the week. But how did this happen? Well, right off the bat, the reason why we lost this game was lack of discipline on the offensive line. Too many penalties. We had 8 false starts and a total of 15 penalties, totaling 115 yards for the Kentucky Wildcats. Those were Gator penalties that helped the Kentucky Wildcats, was my point. So that is the #1 reason why we lost this game. Smaller reasons, Emory Jones with a costly turnover, but it was just one interception, and that wasn't why we lost. Obviously, one interception. We could have definitely won this game despite that if we played offense like we should have been. See some stats here. Emory Jones threw for 200 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Efficiency, completion-wise, pretty good. Just doing the math in my head, that's probably roughly 67%, roughly 2/3. So maybe he's got a 69% completion percentage. That's solid. We still rushed as a team for 171 yards, but when you look at what we've been doing all season, I believe we've averaged 338, I think the number is, rush yards per game. That's through Tennessee, through Alabama, through FAU, and through USF. So we run the ball very well. So 171 total rushing yards is half of what we're used to. So that's obviously a downside. But if you look at total offensive yardage, 382 versus 224, we outplayed them offensively. By far, we just failed to score. We had an early touchdown, rushing touchdown, and then failed to get in the end zone after that. Final score 20-13. Yeah, we had 2 field goals and a touchdown, and we just did not look like a team that should win any games. I don't care if it's the unranked Kentucky Wildcats. We didn't deserve to win this game. One big thing is at the end of the half, we got the ball back with roughly 2.5 minutes, up 10-7. Dan Mullen chooses to play conservative and run out the clock. We should have pushed down the field and gone up 17-7 there. We had the Wildcats where we wanted them, up by a score already, looking to go up 2. So that's one thing that I didn't like coaching-wise. And the other one was play calling. A lot of designed Emory Jones runs that really wasn't working. The Kentucky Wildcats had a guy on their front line, last name Pascal, not sure of his first name, but he was an animal. He blocked a field goal, which ended up being returned for a touchdown for the Wildcats. He had several tackles for losses. He had a sack. The guy was all over everything up front and all over Emory Jones every time he ran the football. So I didn't like the amount of designed runs that we had for Emory Jones. We just beat ourselves, as we commonly do. Even against Bama, we could have won that game, but we beat ourselves. This game, we totally outplayed them offensively. We just couldn't get in the end zone because of the penalties and because of what I consider poor play calling. And Emory Jones just didn't look sharp. And of course, here we go again, another week of saying, why is AR-15? Why is Anthony Richardson not in the game? I don't know. He had 4 or 5 plays this game. Maybe he did have one tackle, or not a sack. It was a design run play. He lost yards, but whatever. He had several rushing plays that were productive and a couple incompletions. He didn't look great, but I would have liked to see him more. He is a playmaker. And then as far as the Kentucky side of the ball, if there's any Kentucky fans out there, you guys look pretty good, but 87 passing yards shouldn't beat the Gators. 137 rushing yards is good. They had obviously more yards per carry. They outrushed us yards per carry wise. We had more total yardage because we ran the ball more, but Kentucky rushing game looked fantastic. They deserve this win despite the lack of passing efficiency. They deserve this win. And despite the third down efficiency, 1 out of 9, the Kentucky Wildcats, again, were gifted A lot of yards from Gators penalties, and that's really what happened. So all in all, this probably means this does mean that the Gators playoff hopes are over. What would it take? Well, of course, we always end up every season saying we lose one game early. Last year was A&M. This year was Bama. And in all honesty, the Alabama loss did nothing to harm the Gators' playoff hopes because, of course, they're in the SEC West. All we would have had to do was win out, beat Georgia, get to the SEC championship, and beat Bama, which we would have had to do whether or not we beat them in the regular season or not. So after we played Bama, we lose 31-29 in a great game. I'm thinking, a lot of Gators fans are thinking, man, this team is legit. We got what it takes to go all the way. We're just, of course, saying, yeah, we got to win out. We got to beat Georgia. We got to win the SEC. Boom, we're in the playoffs. That seems how it is every year, and that's how it was this year. And this loss totally ruins that. We'd have to now win out and beat Georgia. Georgia would have to lose 2 games, and then we have to still win the SEC championship. So we're going to need a lot of help from Georgia losing football games, and right now they look too good to do that. They smoked Arkansas by 37-0 today. So Georgia looks way too good to do what we would need them to do to make the playoffs. So all in all, the Gators were not beat today. They beat themselves. We didn't deserve to win. This team today did not deserve to be in the playoffs, and that is why they probably will not be. So, again, Gators fans, I know we always get this way early in the season. We got to win out. We got to do this. We can do it. 3-2, 1-2 in the conference. It's just not looking like our year. And I know this is a lot to say after one loss, but we know how college football is, and one loss means a lot, especially to an unranked Kentucky Wildcats, who, like I said, now will probably end up a ranked team. But all in all, Gators, this loss effectively ruined our season. So this was a big one. This one is not one we can brush off like Bama. This one meant a lot. Again, Gators fall short 20-13 to the Kentucky Wildcats. There's always next week. We got homecoming this coming weekend against Vandy. We should win this game by 5 scores. And then Georgia, not the following weekend, but the weekend after. So, or Georgia coming up at the end of the month. So that's the next big game is Georgia. So let's see. And then back to the question of the day, can we beat Georgia? Or how's that game going to turn out? The way Georgia looks right now, if we play our top football, I still think they come out on top. It's going to be a good one because the Gators play to their opponent. When we play a weaker team like Kentucky, we struggle. They end up beating us. We play a game like Alabama. We played to their level. We played a lot better football. We still lost, but we played better football. So the Gators are going to make this a great game in Jacksonville against Georgia. But the way Georgia's playing right now, I think Georgia's going to come out on top, unfortunately. And that loss won't hurt as much if we do lose that game, now that we've already got 2 losses. So that's all for the video. Remember to comment down below what you think about the Gators in this loss and as far as their upcoming big game against Georgia. But as far as the video that is all, guys. Thanks for